What did you think of JT Miller taking a leave of absence for mental health reasons?
First of all, I applaud him because JT Miller JT Miller I've always looked at is someone with new school talent, but an old school mentality. Like he plays the game, like put it this way, what always think one of the biggest compliments you can pay any athlete, any sport, is saying this guy could play in any era. Right. There are some players that could only play in one era, maybe play in two eras. I look at someone like JT Miller, and I can't think of one era that he could not play. Like there's nothing that limits his game. And a lot of that, the accent is on physicality. Like he is a tough player. Sure, he's a highly skilled player and he's a versatile player. Play him at center, play him on the wing, do whatever you want, kill penalties, power play. He'll do all of that. But the accent on JT Miller, the thing that he does that a lot of other players don't, is he plays this old school, tough kind of game. Big hits, a little bit nasty, nothing wrong with that. A little bit dirty, nothing wrong with that. And he fights. He's not someone that backs down. You know, Brandon, I can only imagine for someone whose public persona is I'm tough, I'm good, but I'm tough, to say, you know what? I'm taking some time away. I need to sort myself out here. I need to get my own personal thing together. I think that's one of the bravest things I think that JT Miller could have done. And I'm surprised that it doesn't happen more often. Now, I
Yeah.
do understand that JT Miller is an elite player with a massive contract, which makes it easier for him to make that decision. There have been plenty of, bottom six hockey players that may have been going through something similar, if not identical to what JT Miller went through, but because they didn't feel that maybe there wasn't an environment for them to return if they leave, they just said, I can't afford to do this. And I understand that dynamic and I get it. But I'm surprised that it hasn't happened more often. But two, I'm encouraged that someone like JT Miller specifically was the guy that said, I need to take a pause here. I got
So
to take a break.
do you think it might lead to it happening more often? Because like you said, like there has to be other players who have thought about or wanted to step away for a bit or would
Yeah.
benefit from stepping away for a bit.
I think it will. If you look at players now, everybody has skating coach, shooting coach, nutrition coach, gym coach, like all of it. And now they also have mental health coaches. A lot of players, like that is another advantage that a lot of players are seeking out. So it would only make sense to me. And it's not just team. This is individual players seeking out outside of the NH, outside of their club teams, seeking out mental strength coaches. It would seem to me that I'm sure like a lot of their advice would be, you need to take a time out. You need to take a pause. So I would imagine this would happen. I don't know. It's going to be like 3 or 4 guys every year from every team, but I do think that it's going to happen more now. Yes.
How was it received by hockey fans? Because like I think back to the backlash that Naomi Osaka received when she stepped away from the French Open and Simone Biles at the 2020 Olympics. Like there is obviously still this stigma around mental health. So I'm curious how hockey fans have handled it and if the NHL community is kind of like receptive to this idea.
I didn't hear much, if any, criticism. Overwhelmingly, it was supportive. This guy needs to do what he needs to do. I think we're at a point now. I can't speak to other sports because I'm just so like 24/7 on hockey. I think Brandon, like we're at a place in hockey right now that we look at mental health and physical health as more similar than different. You have an injured shoulder, you have an injured brain, you need to take care of both of them. The old idea of just bite down on your mouth guard, suck it up, rub some dirt in it, get back in there. Like those days are gone. And those days seem to be gone for hockey fans. Now, I'm not naive enough to think that if this happened in the playoffs, maybe the reaction would have been different. This happened at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Right. So like, there's a lot of things that I think we have to consider, like the position that JT Miller is in on his team, the position that JT Miller is in financially, the time of year that it was. because as much as fans may be forgiving in November, December, I'm not so sure. I'd like to think that they would be. I'm not so sure that they'd be, as forgiving if it was in, March, April, during a push for the playoffs or in the playoff. Like, before a game 7, I need to take a timeout. I'd like to think that people would understand, but listen, the sports fan, and I know the sports fan. I'm not so sure the reaction would have been the same.